Yeah, man. Good to be here. Good to be here. Just practicing, practicing your songs and shit, stuff like that.
Oh, you're working on new material?
Always. I mean, there's always you know, stuff that hasn't been released, that I have and that's really sat around for a while. you
Okay.
know, through even before COVID, but even with before this new album or the last album, we didn't do like 4 songs that we wanted to do.
Okay.
So it was, yeah, just that kind of thing. Like, I still want to do those songs. Plus, with these new members, I mean, they have a lot of a lot of talent, man. They're fucking badass. So I want to see what they have to bring to the table. They're I mean, yeah. So
Killer, man. So who's the still from the original lineup in the band, or is it completely new?
yeah. So yeah, I've been looking forward to this because it's a lot of people are probably asking, wondering what's going on with the band and things like that, right? So over time, you know, what after the newest album, I mean, you know, with me, I'm gonna be the original person, you know what I mean? Because Paul's just retired and we have Jason and Josh that are coming in, and they came in, guns blazing. I mean, they knew all the songs, they knew the whole set list perfect.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so yeah, it was like they drove down from Georgia on a Friday night. On like a Friday they got here. We jammed on Saturday morning, um and just, I mean, we played the whole set list like 3 or 4 times, and then we did it again Sunday morning before they left.
Wow.
And so Jason agreed to do vocals, and you may know him from Quintessentia. And Quintessentia's, I mean, they're fucking pretty an amazing, talented band. So death metal band. I mean, we played shows with them before. And so, I mean, and also the guitar player, Matt Barnes from Quintessentia, he's on the new Diabolic album.
Wow.
He's also from Monstrosity too, of course. He's you know what I mean. So,
Okay.
Matt Barnes, he's in on new Monstrosity albums, Metal Blade Records. So, I mean, so yeah, yeah, that's so with the new lineup um we have Jason, Josh, and now we have, and Josh is just this shredder kid. I mean, it's just like this. I mean, he's like 22, 23 years old. He can't, I mean, he knows like, he knows like all the songs. It's just like, he's just like super, super fucking, dedicated and talented. So that was just like out of nowhere. It's like for him to come down and know all the songs and spend the time to know, it's just like, it was like nothing to him. Secondhand, like he always knew the songs. So it's just like a really special, member, to come out of left field. You know what I mean? I was not expecting him to be that prepared. You have to understand, I mean, the people that I've had to work with show up and they just don't know the songs. They might know a couple riffs and then they'll kind of like, fade away. I'm like, I can't really work with a couple riffs if you're gonna play the set list. You gotta know the set list. You're gonna be in Diabolic, you gotta know the songs. You know what I mean? It's just
Of
like
course.
I
But
can't.
I was just about to say, I mean, that's quite a luxury to have musicians popping out of the woodwork now and just knowing this shit. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was having a chat to Kelly Schaefer from Atheist the other day, and he also said like the music he's got a complete lineup as well, and they all just they're also not in Florida, and they're just from in the US somewhere, and they just know the shit finished. Yeah,
that's great. That's great to hear that too, because I mean, it's like you feel like, oh, you feel like everybody should be in the same city, and that's just not the case. It doesn't have to be the case. And if you know the songs, it's just like you practice like maybe a week before you go out on tour. You know what I mean, or something.
to get
It's
the
just like,
feeling.
yeah, I get the feeling. If it's different, even writing a new album with technology right now, they can send me the riffs. I can record the drums over right here in my bedroom. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and we don't have to, but I still have a place to practice. You know what I mean? We still have a, brick and mortar, place to jam, right up the street.
That's
Yeah.
great.
So,
But so, do you write a lot of the material? Do you also play guitar, or how does it?
yeah, I mean, I picked up the guitar, I think a long time ago, like just watching my guitar players, just like from Ex Mortis, honestly, watching Brian and I would watch my guitar players back in Ex Mortis, like show the bass players how to play the riff.
Yeah, yeah.
so, so I'd always watch that and be like, oh, that's how you do it. And I would just learn the basics like that. But then I would find the notes on my own because I had a guitar or whatever sitting around the band practice room. It's like Marshall stacks, you know, guitars,
Yeah,
always,
yeah.
always around guitar, band house. So I would get home from work and just pick up the guitar and just like try to copy, what I heard off of records. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I'd try to learn how to play like Hella Weights or, like easy, like stuff that, you know what I mean? I would just pick up on, you know what I mean? And later on, like when like Altars of Madness came out, like that was like really
Right.
sick. I was, man, this is crazy riffing. I mean, like the notes would go from here to there to here to there to here to there. And it was just fun for me. I never thought that I'd be like writing songs, you know what I mean?
So
And then
have you been writing from the day one in Diabolic, or was it gradual?
it was upon, yeah, I made that like because I saw Dave Lombardo, I saw other people that weren't getting, and then I saw other drummers that um when I saw some of the politics behind it, you know what I mean? I saw that in order to get paid in music, you either have to write lyrics
Oh
or
yeah,
you
yeah.
or you have to write the song, right? So if you don't, then
But it's
you're never going to get anything from that record. You might make a couple bucks like from beer, and I mean, so it's like, well, I want to be more of an asset, you know what I mean? I always make, so it's like, all right, look, Paul, this is what we're going to do. Let's write a song together and see how we work together, right? Let's see how we write together. Because by that time, I was in Horror of Horrors and I write a whole bunch of music, all, music and that. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to write a riff and then you write a riff. I'm going to write a riff and then you write a riff. And that's how we wrote Vortex. And then that evolved into Supreme Evil.
mm, mm.
So, I mean, like, I wrote the beginning of it has this accent, right? So, you know what I mean? It goes da 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 da. And then, I was like, we got to make an accent, making, intro. So we got, do an accent and then we do da 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 da. I wrote the first, and then they wrote more of the technical riffs, because they're better guitar players, of course. And then I would just write the dark, eerie, kind of, shit like that. So that's what I write. I write that. I write, so, and then it's more of a balance. Lee Harrison's like that. Also, Gene
Yeah,
Hoglan, he
yeah,
wrote a lot. I was just growing up. I was like, I remember, I was like, Gene Hoglan wrote a lot of the Dark Angel lyrics and stuff like that. So he inspired me. Lee Harrison, of course, from Monstrosity, writes a lot of music. You know what I mean? So Steve Ashamed from Deicide, he writes a lot of stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
As a drummer, you know what I mean? So these drummers, just being in Florida, just being around Steve and Lee inspired me to, pick up the guitar and just show my guitar players a few riffs. You know what I mean? Like, hey
But
man,
it gives you a benefit because you probably think more percussively and in terms of the kind of riffing that you're going to do. You know, just like you said, those accents and that kind of stuff. You know, automatically what'll work great with drums.
yeah, like the counting and the timing and things like that. I try to make you know what I mean? Like, play a riff like 6 times, 4 times, A B, just make the structures. Um, you know, you make up the structures A, B, C, D, and then you move those letters
Right.
back from A, B, and then you put numbers behind those riffs and have fun with it. And then you're as a drummer, like, okay, like you can map out a song for the guitar player,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And or with the guitar player a lot easier. Um, and that's that's the fun part about writing with guitar players, because man, I've had some amazing guitar players I've wrote with. I mean, geez, I've
No,
been really
I can hear that from your material. I mean, it's always been very tech and very well technical and very proficient. But tell me, did you go sort of through the same school? I mean, were you around when it was still only bands like Nasty Savage and Sabotage, or were you more into the scene when Pete Sandoval and those guys were already around?
right. So, an Ex Mortis is a band from Maryland. We had a demo called Descent in the Chaos, and so we tape traded with bands like Autopsy, Death. And so I was in the scene back in like 90s, it's like 80, 86, 87 when we put out that demo. So we were tape trading back
Wow.
in those days like that. So, when you're getting demos from, Autopsy and Immolation and tape trading, the underground like that, um, I wasn't living in Florida back then. I
Okay.
was
Okay.
up north, so we would drive up to New York and play shows with Goraphobia and you know Chris Mazzadoris from Goraphobia and they're Immolation guys.
Nation,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, so we were tape trading with those guys. So that's where I started, like that with that kind of you know and then when I and Morbid Angel, so we started, tape trading when Thy Kingdom Come demo came out, our demo came out, we tape traded it with those guys.
Yeah.
So that's how it all started. And then um all of a sudden, I mean, shit, I mean, you know, bands started to get it signed, I mean, and then I met up with I don't know, Ex Mortis kind of what something happened, and we broke up, but so I moved to Florida and I met up with, Monstrosity and those guys, like, and Malevolent Creation. So I
Yeah.
called Phil from Malevolent Creation. I'm like, hey man, who do I meet down here? Who do I know? Who can I, because I lived in St. Pete with my aunt. And he's like, call Roger Patterson from Atheist. I was like,
Hmm.
holy shit. I was like, holy fuck. So Raj, I was right. Raj came, picked me up and took me down to Bradenton and to few atheist band practices, and I hung out with Raj. And that's how I got in down here. It was crazy. He took me to Aces Records. Dave Vincent was working at Aces Records, you know what I mean? Like the record store here in Florida and at the flea market back then. And that's how I got to meet, that's how I got to meet Morbid. It's like, flea market. David was working one day and he's like, yeah, I was like, man, I want to meet Pete, man. He's like, yeah, dude, here's his number. I called Pete, fucking, they're jamming at this warehouse and shit, dude. And dude, they're jamming, dude, like 8 hours a day, dude, you
Wow,
know?
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It
So it's got,
must have been a great experience though.
yeah, to see them to compare to, like, you know what I mean? And it was like, they just had their shit together, dude. Like they weren't fucking around.
Yeah, yeah,
There's no there's just you can just see a huge they weren't fucking around, man. It's just it's hard to explain, man, like how serious they were, dude. Like they were fucking Morbid were fucking back in those days. But
amazing.
yeah, they practiced a lot, man, and you could hear them. They were louder than every band in the jam, at the warehouses. They blew everybody when they played. You couldn't hear your band, dude. You just couldn't hear your band, dude. You'd be like, huh? Yeah.
So cool. Amazing. Yeah, but wow. And so I mean, I heard you guys the first time. I was actually at that time, now this is years ago. I was looking for something new out of the Florida scene, and I stumbled across. I think I still ordered CDs because I was still living in Africa, and I was ordering CDs through a site called CD Connection. And then I spotted Supreme Evil. I was like, whoa, okay. Number one, Joe Patagno artwork. That's already good. And then after some Googling, ordered the album. And man, I was just blown away. And what I've noticed with the following album, Subterranean Magnitude and Vengeance Ascending, you added a bit more a black metal touch almost. Is that right? Or
Yeah, I mean, we were just, I mean, for black metal like it's faster in some ways. You know what I mean? When it came to blast, it comes to blast, like, Frost. I mean, what he brings to the table as a drummer is really ridiculous. Hellhammer, those drummers.
Mhm.
We played with those guys up in New York. You know, to watch Hellhammer play and I mean, he's like really badass. He's a badass fucking to watch. uh you know there's just some killer black metal drummers, you know what I mean? So, and then the way that they tune, they're tune up high, they're tune up to E or higher,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. All
and
fuzzy.
yeah, that I like to add that element, definitely to I like to add thrash, a death thrash sound, heavy death thrash, with the skank beat. I like to add black metal into the song, inject the black metal riffs to make it sound super evil over the blast beats.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I like the doom. There's always a breakdown doom part, or you can go melodic. You can always inject the melodic. And my favorite is always the double bass drum parts, the fast drum. It's just like double bass drum parts over certain riffs and shit. Yeah, that's always good to have all those three together. You know what I mean? Or those four elements. The blast, and have the different inject the different styles of death metal. A little bit of, you can add some thrash in there, and then the black metal. I like to add those three elements: the death metal, and then the Metallica parts too. You know what I mean? Because Metallica brings
There's Metallica in there.
I mean, there's like some yeah, yeah, honestly, there's some Metallica parts. I think in like the Blast Masters, on like a Blast Masters album, there's some Metallica stuff there. If you listen to like some of the slower parts,
Mm.
you're going back to that. Like, let's just say, let me see, Possessed by Death. Okay, that there's an EP right there, right?
Yeah.
And so with between the Chaos in Hell, and we did try to bring those powerful slow parts, that you know what I mean, like, just, I mean, because what they brought to the table, we tried to do, you know complement what you know what I mean, what those the gods like fucking Metallica gods. I mean, seriously, when you look at what they did on Ride the Lightning or anything that they really, not what I'm saying, like their early stuff. I mean, even they've just did the way that they put songs together. It's just some of their riffs are just really, really fucking powerful,
Absolutely, absolutely.
and just to bring that power to the crowd in front of you. It's like that's so important because I don't want them to get lost in the speed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to have the variety, eh? And that's what I think what really makes out your albums. I mean, there's always a lot of variety. There's a lot of different elements and what do you call it? Sensibilities coming through.
Thank you. Because I mean, you listen to how many records, man, like over the years, and you're just like, wow, that's my favorite part. Or if you go see a band live, you go, okay, this is what I like about them. They're not going to lose me. You know what I mean? With too much speed or too much this or too much that. They're giving the crowd a little bit of everything,
Oh,
and
exactly.
that's,
Otherwise, it's just so one-dimensional and it loses its effect.
yeah,
So
you'll go get a beer, go out in the parking lot, and go hang out until the next band comes on.
yeah, sort of. You can do that. Yeah. So tell
And
me, okay, we've talked about you obviously having now a new lineup, and when can we expect new material from you guys?
I'll be honest with you. I mean, we're like with the new lineup, our goal is to play live right now. Because how many records do I have out? I got a bunch. Yeah, okay. I mean, and playing live should, really be our priority, I think, right now. Putting out a new record, that should come naturally. Like I said, I've got like 4 or 5 songs ready to go. And with the songs that these guys, with the ideas that these guys bring in, it's just gonna be with Jason and Josh and John. I mean, John Hall is a bass. He's our bass player. Okay, so he was in the band a long time ago. Like, so I mean, he learned the set list and everything. He knew all the do the vocals and bass, but you know, things had changed, and so I just had to roll the punches with these different lineups, man, because you just have different people that want different things, you know what I mean? So as a drummer, you know what I mean, I'm just like I gotta work with everybody.
Yeah.
So now John's back, and he had some riffs like back over like 10 years ago that we were working on. So it's not going to be hard, I don't think, to put this new album together. And also getting into a studio again, Punchy, he's relocated his studio. So that, that's a big deal, that the place that he recorded all those badass albums, Morbid, Terrorizer,
Yeah, yeah.
um, our albums and stuff. That place has moved to his new residence, right? So he's setting that up. So I just want to give him time, that as long as he's happy with his new studio, or at least because going to a studio can be really expensive, and if you
Yeah,
do
for
it
sure.
yourself,
For sure.
you could really mess things up.
Definitely,
If you
and it makes sense. I mean, if you've got a new team now, I mean, obviously you want to go get out there and get some mileage and and play shows
yeah,
and let's be real about it. I mean, albums they don't sell. These days it's a vehicle for you to go out, and it's
yeah,
really live performance and merchant shit where you actually earn some money.
exactly. And it's just like these guys, everybody, let's be honest with you, our guys, this lineup, I mean, they all have careers and houses, and everybody's married, so
Mhm.
it's like the reality is just like, what we're doing, I think live is going to be really fucking awesome for these guys, because it's going to be um a nice vacation against our normal lives, just be honest with you, you know what I mean? It's just like, if you tour, you have to really tour pretty much year round.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't really go home. And you have to have a really good, you have to stay on the road. You just can't come home.
Yeah,
So
it's crazy if you see what bands like Cannibal do. I mean, they just, I mean, they tour an album for 2 years flat. It's just it's
yeah,
either that or you do these little, a weekend here, a few days there, and that's it.
yeah, we got hit well pretty hard. I mean, like after 9/11. So we were like, oh, everything was going great. And then all of a sudden the World Trade Center incident happened, and then Marduk didn't come over, and then a lot of tour, because we were going, tour to tour to tour, maybe have a month off, and that really messed a lot of things up in the early days. Now, I mean, it's a long time later, and then COVID hits, so you got to be,
Yeah.
just like band change, lineup changes and stuff. But yeah, I'm really excited about the future for sure. I want to play, I want to play live. I want to, um get back to Europe.
Oh, that would be my next question. But yeah, obviously now you've explained it, and it's no, because interesting. I was the other about a month ago. They started this whole Death Fest thing, which originated in the US, like Maryland and all that. Now
Yeah, yeah.
they've started that now here in Dortmund. So, and that was quite a success from what I heard, and they had quite a few also old school bands popping up. And so, I mean, David Vincent was there with I Am Morbid and Pete. They did the I Am Morbid shows,
Oh yeah.
and
It,
Cancer from the UK, and it was really awesome to see. And yeah, I think that could be interesting for you guys in the future for next year, maybe.
yeah, we need to probably get on a bigger label, a better, a label to get to that, to get onto that,
Yeah.
what I mean, label. So we're gonna closely with just work closely with the label actually that we're working with, and just move forward. Big Cartel, with Virgil, he's been a big help over there. So and we'll just move forward and see what we can get on. Once we're gonna start rehearsal again next month. Okay, so these guys are all gonna come together, and we're gonna make sure everybody knows the songs, and then we can get ahead and start, with everybody's schedule, start booking shows. You know what I mean? Going into the new year.
Oh man, that sounds awesome. I wish you guys all the best. So are you currently with is it Tentacles Industries?
Yeah, the tentacle industry, Virgil, he's fucking done a phenomenal job getting out the merchandise or getting out everything that in the timeline that I was asking for. So yeah, I mean, I wanted it out within 90 days if because I was ready to release it by myself. I'd already had everything was recorded and mixed, and I released it.
Okay.
Um, I put it on Bandcamp right away, and then I started, you know what I mean? But when I was sending it out to people, nobody was calling me back. So I put it on Bandcamp, and then all of a sudden, and so we set that up, and he's got vinyl, he's got fucking, he's got shirts, he's got everything, set up for the new album with Mausoleum of the Unholy Ghost.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Uh,
So,
and
sorry. So, how do you feel about recording? I mean, you've probably also been whole band in the studio, the old classic way of doing it. And
mhm.
nowadays, I mean, obviously, you can you can basically do it at home. What are your feelings? Do you miss the old way of doing it? Morris sound, whatever, and
Mhm.
the whole thing, hanging out as a band, doing it, or this. I mean, it's a little bit more impersonal, like you send the tracks, and I mean, I know what it's like. And what's your
Oh my,
personal preference?
I love playing live. Like I swear I remember playing Supreme Evil and Subterranean Magnet. I think we played all the albums live until um I think until I think it was like Vengeance. Yeah, because it was Kelly, me. Yeah, it was Kelly, me, and Jeff. We were in the same room playing the songs together, loud as fuck. You know what I mean? They were in the drum room playing with me. So I
Okay.
had both. So it wasn't that long. I do miss that. I do miss that. I think this is like probably the first album that I didn't have my guitar players in the same room playing with me. So it was a little bit it was a little bit different. I just had to play to a metronome,
Yeah.
and then I played the scratch tracks to the metronome first, and then I played all the guitars, and then I played the drums to the scratch tracks, to the guitar scratch tracks.
Okay. Interesting. Wow.
Like that. That's how it goes. You have to be able to play the riff to the scratch track first, then play the drums to the scratch track, because then you have your guitars, right?
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
But yes, and then after that, I send that over to a real guitar player so he can, Matt Barnes, so he can fix it and make it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then from there, I play the bass on this album. I play
Okay.
bass on this
Wow.
album. Yeah, all of it. Punchy was showing me some licks. He was showing me from, how showing me some secrets from from Dave Vincent, and he's like, I was like, oh, cool, that's how he does it. I was like, cool. So I was getting some pro lessons, some lessons, you know what I mean? And that was a first. I mean, I think that, I didn't see that coming, but in order to be more time efficient, it was better for Paul to just do the vocals, and then I just did, you know what I mean? I just did the
Okay.
bass because he wasn't going to do it, dude. He just wasn't going to do it. So, but now John's going to do it, and but yeah, I prefer playing live as a band to be clear. um,
To get the energy. Yeah. Yeah.
I can focus on drums. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I'm a drummer. I'd rather, you know what I mean? I like to add a riff here and there, but I like, to participate, you know what I mean? Like to keep the song sounding dark and evil. If it's going off in a different direction, I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? It's like let's make it's got to sound scary before the vocals. You know what I mean? It's got that's like my whole intent is to make the song sound so dark and evil that by the time you put lyrics, it's like gonna scare the shit out of you even more. That's like the that's how we want it. That's how I like to write death metal. It's
Mission
just like
accomplished.
yeah. So and that's it's fun. It's fun. It's fun. You can have fun with it. But yeah, it's like you were saying.
Great stuff. Antar, Zoom is going to cap us in about 5 minutes, but I think I'm going to, just for safety, just so we don't have a chopped off ending,
Yeah, yeah.
close off now. Um, Thanks for making the time, talking to us about Diabolic and all the other things. I'm looking forward to, yeah, well, obviously I'm in Europe, so I'll have to wait. But obviously I monitor things online, but keen to see the activities rising again, and wish you guys all the best, and stay metal.
Hey, really, I really appreciate this opportunity. And glad we could, finally get this out there. And want to thank all the Diabolic fans, all the death metal fucking headbangers out there
Yeah,
that supported Diabolic, but more thank you for Into the Pit, everybody into the pit for putting this together. Have an awesome day, bro.
hey, cool, man. Antar, go well. I'll send you a link when it's up,
Oh man, thanks a lot, bro. You
and
have an awesome
maybe you
day.
can post it on repost it on Facebook as well.
Oh, I will definitely. This is definitely keeping people, showing people that we're still relevant.
Signs of life.
Thanks, bro. Really
Have a good
appreciate it.
one. Cheers.
Cheers, bro.
Ciao.